to another unauthorized and rum-fueled treasure hunt in the sharky waters surrounding Gatsby Islands with Queen Raae.
Me!
I'm your host, Captain Olavia, and today's topic is related content.
Woohoo! Woohoo! You want me to say something about that?
No, wait. Okay, I'm ready.
Yes. So today we are doing what? We are doing related content. Why? Because I had a Gatsby emergency call this week, and we talked about related content, and a lot of the I'm gonna move myself over. A lot of the suggestions that I saw when I was researching, I kind of didn't like them. A lot of them were doing all of kind of the related logic inside of create pages. So when I found this article where somebody had used a custom resolver, I got very interested in that and I wanted to explore that on stream. Yeah, so that's the why. And for me personally, it's going to be I don't know how necessary it is for my site, but that's the one we're going to work on. So for me, it will be the emails that I send out every day. When you select an email, you will then be able to see related emails. But we might not get all the way to the front end today. We're just going to work inside of GraphQL, which we like in this, that we like. Graphical.
I like it. Hello, Inessa. Hello.
Hello. So we hope everybody has had a great Easter or heading into Easter. It depends a little bit on where you're at. And if you don't celebrate Easter, happy spring. And, if you're in Australia, I don't know, happy fall. So your Taskable thing, we had the what and the why and the how. So I'm going to start sharing my screen then. Because I found this great article that I shared. So I thought we'd try to follow that to give credit where credit is due. So there we go. I'm going to make it a little bigger. The script or the link is already in the description, so you can check that out. So how to create a list of related content in Gatsby. So this is from the reckoning.dev blog. And he does quite a few things, but he is using a create resolver, so a custom resolver. So instead of making any of this data kind of added to the nodes or making a lot of logic inside of your create pages or something like that, he's using a custom resolver, adding a field to his MDX. We're going to be working on markdown remark nodes, and then he's adding a field related reads, and it's going to be a list of MDX files. In our case, it will be markdown files. And what is cool about this approach, which is hard to do in any of the other approaches, is that he can take an argument. So you can say how many related posts you want. So if you think about this, if you're working kind of on the back end of your Gatsby site and somebody's working on the front end, they might change their mind. Maybe they wanted 5 related posts, and in different places, they might want different amounts of related posts. And creating a custom resolver like this, you can take an argument and let kind of the person making the query decide how many. If we were to do this kind of inside of our create pages or in like a page context kind of way, there's no way to kind of send in an argument. So this is a much more flexible way. I am still kind of a noob when it comes to GraphQL. All I've learned about GraphQL is from my Gatsby work. I'm thinking about taking a course on just GraphQL, but so this is working with kind of the power of the Gatsby data layer that is powered by GraphQL. So let's see if we can make it work. today I'm thinking we'll skip. So what he does is that he checks for similarities in tags and then also similarities in title. And I must say, I really like this similarity in title because some of us, might be a little bit lazy in adding tags. So I've started adding tags to my emails, but I know that, I might not be good in adding tags to everything. And also, this feels like a much more kind of, a much more applicable solution to just look at the titles. Another way to do this, if you just want to kind of have a couple of blog posts below a blog post or a couple of products below a product, something like that, and you don't want to implement a lot of logic, you could also just like randomly pick, so let's say you have, products, you could maybe check for the same category or not at all, just like search for all products and then just pick 3 or 4, or then pick the number, the limit, like the argument sent in, like how many related products do they want to display, and then just pick that amount of products randomly. It will be random on build, of course, not in the browser, but that's an easy way if you don't really have that much content to work with. But I wanted to test out this similarity in title. So what I'll start doing, because I like copy pasting, as everybody knows, we'll just copy paste. I love it when they have a little copy paste on their blog. I need to add that to my emails. And we'll head on over into our code. And I am on the white because I was working outside yesterday, so it's all white. So let's change that, because I think on stream, a black color will be a lot better. So I usually use the Beyonce theme, which is like Beyonce theme. And then I just did some cleaning. So chore, clean, let's just commit that so we don't look at that. And then we will be upping our code editor as well. Okay, there we go. So let's head on over to our Gatsby node. So this is in the root. I just collapsed the create tag pages because that's not what we're going to be looking at now. So let's head on over to create resolvers. So I copy pasted in the code from his example. So we want to do this on our markdown remark pages. We'll have this limit here. And he called it related reads, which I think is a really good name. So we'll just keep the name. And the magic here is that when you are inside of resolver, which you couldn't have done inside of an onCreate node, for instance, but when inside of a resolver, we can actually run a query on our data layer. So everything that's been sourced into the data layer, we can now query inside of our custom resolvers. So what he's doing is that he's saying, okay, other posts, let's run a query. We want everything. So not the first only. It's of type markdown remark. And then we are gonna skip. We're just gonna do it on everything. So remove this one and so the only thing we want to filter is we want to make sure we're not on the current article. So let's do file absolute path, because then we know file a remark node or a remark node that is sourced from the file will have a unique file name. So file absolute path. Then we'll need to do the same thing for the source. So what is happening here is that we are getting into the resolver. We're getting the source node. So this is the node, kind of the node we're on. We're getting the arguments. And we're also getting this context. I like to call it context just to be super clear instead of shortening it. So context. And then there's some more info that is not used here, but we'll keep all of them in there so it's visible. So first only false, we want all of them, file markdown, but we don't want the current node. We don't want the current one because we don't want to have a related read that is the same one. Yes?
That happens to me not all the time, but sometimes, I go on someplace and they want to show me, something else, and they show me exactly what I've looked at.
Yes. So
But
that's what we're doing here.
It's really easy to not do that. Why don't they?
I mean, it depends on your system how easy it's gonna be. So we are now going to use the node module that he kind of recommended. It's called string similarity, and it uses a fancy algorithm that we're not going to try to understand. We're just going to use it, and it takes two strings. So we're going to take the title of our source, the node we're on, and we're going to compare it to the other post's title. So we are fetching all the other posts that are type markdown remark. So let's say other markdown. Can I write markdown remark? For each other markdown remark, we are looping through all of them, which are every markdown file that's been sourced except for the one we're on. And then we're returning everything that's on that node, but then we're also adding a similarity field here, and we're using that module string similarity, and we're comparing the two strings, and then we're filtering in case it's 0, like if if there's no similarities, we don't want to we don't want to keep it. And then we sort on the similarities. So higher similarities on top, lower similarities on bottom. And then we're saying, give us from the top, give us the first one until the limit, like how many related reads do we want.
Groovy.
So if this is working, let's try to see.
You made very few changes.
I simplified it a little bit. I removed everything that had to do with dates, and I removed everything that had to do with tags, so that we are only looking at the title, just to make it, simpler in this case.
Yes.
Maybe we'll have quite a short stream today. Do you think I'm going to make it?
Can you show us the code while you're building, so we don't cover it all up?
Yes. So what we want to do now is that I want to head into the GraphQL Explorer, GraphQL, and look for, related reads.
Yes.
On our markdown remark nodes.
We love GraphQL.
I love GraphQL, or GraphQL.
Yes.
I kind of say graphical and GraphQL on at the same way. We've been on vacation now. I've spoken very little English. Like after all that traveling, I was like all English in my brain, and now I've been in Norway too long. No, just kidding. Okay, so we're already getting the title, and let's see if we now have something called related reads. Yes, we do. And as you can see here, it has this kind of special argument option in GraphQL. Let me bump this up as well.
Yes.
Okay, yes. So if we go to limit here, we could say 3. And then let's do front matter and then do title to see which one it comes up with. String similarity is not defined. But why did how did it manage to give us all this information when there was an error in our code, which is quite interesting? That's because we're saying that it's going to be of markdown remark, and we're saying it's going to have an argument of limit, and it doesn't run any of this resolve code until we're actually querying. So it kind of infers all that information about related reads from our type and our arguments, kind of describing related reads here. And then the resolver is not run until we hit the little play button here, or in your code when you're querying for it with your GraphQL queries. So let's get our
can I ask?
Let's get our string similarities.
Can I ask?
Module. Yes.
When you say query, you mean writing a query and doing Gatsby develop.
We've already done Gatsby develop,
And then the
but it
query is
doesn't.
run.
The query is not run until we press play here. That's when the query is run. Or when a page is generated, the query for that page is also run. So it depends. Some of the queries are run on develop, and some of the queries are run when a page is created. But I think maybe if we added related reads to one of our page queries, it would actually run that on develop. But when you do build, it will run all of the queries. But on develop, it's like it's trying to be smart, I think.
Yes,
I'm not
good.
100% sure of that. So let's import it. I've already installed it, so that should be good. The boring thing about using these or creating these custom resolvers is that Gatsby will often have to clear the cache because it's detecting that you've been messing with the data layer, and when you're messing with the data layer, it has to clear. So your kind of development cycle will be a little bit slower when you're working with creating custom resolvers or customizing the schema. But I've managed now to create myself a little content dev folder, so we're not sourcing every email I've ever written because it's getting to be quite a few. We were only doing like a little bit of a sample, so you will also see that our related reads will not be that interesting, but when we have it all working, we could do a run on my complete list of emails. So anyone is I'm gonna fix my camera while people are outside on the street.
Do you know when Lillian is coming home?
I said that they were gonna send her home in 5 minutes, so she will be coming crashing through the door.
Good.
Yes. Boop 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 boop. Let's see if our code is running. No. I have to clean up my site a little bit. I've been doing a lot of experimentation.
That's good.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, but I made it a little bit harder on myself for some reason.
I am just coming back from Lillian's school where I have been raking leaves. Is that what you say in English? Is it called raking?
I think it's called raking. No,
Yeah,
that's Norwegian. I don't know. But okay, so let's see here now. We have title, we have recommended read, how to create list of related content in Gatsby. So we're getting how to fix inconsistent trailing slashes in Gatsby. That's probably because it matches on Gatsby. We're also getting swamped in customer requests for how to integrate your sets with Gatsby. That's probably it. And then welcome to the sharky waters around the Gatsby Island. So it's getting matches on Gatsby. But then and then we're seeing here this week around the Gatsby Islands, it's finding all these other titles that have next week around the Gatsby Islands. Welcome to the sharky waters around the Gatsby Islands. And let's see if we can find someone else. So here, Gatsby image CDN on Netlify. It's also matching a lot on Gatsby. So this is where also having those tags, could be good as well. But
could you make a tag that is don't show this, if you know what I'm saying, so that you can remove some of them from the list?
I could probably do that. Like I could have some that I don't want to be on there. And it's also matching on a lot of remark nodes that we don't really need because my system is a lot different. But it's also finding our 404 page. Maybe I should do a little bit of a cleanup in my query. So let's do a filter here. We want to filter on let's say.
What did he filter on? He had some filter thing.
He filter on file absolute path.
Okay.
This is because I have a little bit of a weird setup, so I didn't want to kind of do that.
So
I actually
thinking, okay, can I say something? So what I would think is actually, let's say somebody just comes to your page and then you have like a list of things that you're thinking this is good. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you can just have a list of 5 or something.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could
Top
do that as
5.
well. Like, yeah, we could have. You can do anything here. So if you add that information to your remark files, so you could say kind of like favorite, and then
Yeah.
tag different ones as favorites. Because as you can see, what he's doing here in similarities, you can't really see, but he's doing an intersection between the tags length. So if there's a lot of overlap in the tags, he's then adding the number 3, and then he's actually multiplying it by the similarity on the title. And then you could also say, okay, if it has a tag of favorite, like if it's tagged as favorite, we will add another, score of 5 or something like that, or like multiply it by something. So you can make all kinds of little things here, but we just wanted to do something.
This is great. I love it. Did you have fun, making it work?
Yes, but let's say it's not working exactly like I want. So, but I will fix that later. File absolute path.
Oh.
But we could also, so what I want to do now is that, okay, I want to filter on file absolute path. I also want to filter on it to be, it should only regex my Queen emails. So let's see if that works. Can I do both? Content and then Queen emails.
That's right. That's right.
But the problem I realized for me when I was going to do tags is that since I just learned about, customer resolver, or not just learned about, but since I just started exploring more clearly customer resolvers and customizing the schema and stuff like that, I solved the tagging using a custom resolver. And because I'm doing that, I'm not getting access to the tags kind of, and I'm asking for all these markdown remark nodes. I'm not getting the tags because the tags aren't resolved yet. So
you
I think
already have a customer resolver making tags.
Yes.
From old days.
No, I did it this morning actually.
Okay. Okay.
But I have a custom. Hello, Lilian. I got a
Lilian!
custom resolver here.
I'll go and get her.
Okay. I'll try to explain then.
No.
I have a custom resolver here that is taking a string of tags and making it into an array of tag objects. And I'm adding that, like I'm resolving that on the markdown remark front matter. And therefore, I cannot actually access that when we query here from the data layer, we're just getting whatever is actually set on the node and not stuff that can be resolved kind of later with resolvers. So what I'm planning to do is that I will make these tags, because this information is actually not dependent on anything else. It's just dependent on the front matter data. So I want to change this to do create the tags on create node and add it as a field, and then I can use it in my information here. So, okay, as you can hear now, I'm like getting a little distracted because somebody just came home. But back to what we're doing today. So let's see if we are now just getting Queen emails as related. I don't know if I did a new develop or not. So let's do a new develop. And then we'll see if we're just getting the Queen emails and not the one we're on. And then we'll and then we're done actually. This is a super short stream.
Sa du at du var ferdig nå?
I am kind of done.
Lilian, kom! Nej, det går fint, det vel. Kom.
No, but we're not like, I need to run. It needs to run and stuff like that before we need to see that if it's working.
She says, are you done? Are you done?
ferdig.
We are almost done. Vi er nesten ferdig.
Men Lilla, da gidder du ikke å gå. Kom her.
Okay, so as you can see now, we're not getting any of those weird, empty things. Oh, we're not getting anything on related reads, so let's not do that. Okay, she doesn't want to go to bed because... sorry that I'm laughing. I shouldn't be laughing, but yes. So let's summarize what we did today, and then we'll continue doing it next week when I figure out how to do it with kind of my setup, because here I'm just doing it straight on the markdown remark nodes, but in my code I actually have this system where I have it as a Queen email node, and I want it to happen on that Queen email node and not kind of on the markdown nodes. But because I'm doing things a little bit differently, I couldn't figure it out, but I wanted to show it today anyway. So let's go back and summarize. So what we're doing is that we're creating a what. So what Ola said we need to do what, why, and how. So the what is, we wanted to add a related content to our nodes, or we wanted to add related content, related content feature. And we wanted to do that in kind of like the Gatsby way, as I would say it. And I found the article by reckoning.dev that I felt was a really good show of how to do this. And what we do is that we create a custom resolver. Instead of doing this on when we're creating pages or something like that, we're creating it as a custom resolver, because when we are inside of custom resolvers, we can run queries on our content layer, Gatsby content layer. So we're saying that we're adding to the markdown remark nodes, we're adding a field called related reads, and it's going to be of an array containing markdown remark nodes. What is really nice with creating custom resolvers is that we can add arguments. So we could say here limit 3, or we can do 5, or we can do 10. And that leaves kind of the decision of how many related articles you want up to the person writing more of the front end code, except instead of kind of the back end side of the Gatsby. So we grab that argument, and then we run a query for all markdown nodes except for the one we're on, and then we loop, or we go through all of the other markdown remark nodes, and then we check the string similarity on the title. And as we could see, it's not that good. You could do other things. You could do random selection, or like he's doing in the article, he's also checking on tags, which we might do next week. And then you filter out anyone that doesn't have any similarity. And then in this case, I think there will always be some similarities, but in the other case where you are seeing the overlap of tags, if that is 0 and you then multiply it by the string similarities, then you'll have 0. So you'll filter out those, and then we sort on the highest similarities on top, the lowest similarities on bottoms, and then we slice, we cut out the ones we want from the top, and that will be our related reads. And when we head on over to GraphQL, then we can do a query on related reads, and you'll see related reads. We are getting related reads. And as Ola suggested, you can do a lot of fun things here. You could add maybe a favorites flag to some articles that you want to surface higher. You might just want to do maybe 2 or 3 that are similar, and then add a random one or a couple of random ones, because sometimes it's nice to just surface content that isn't similar. You could create more of these. You could have related reads. You could then have random additional reads. All kinds of things you can do in here. It's just matter what you need and what you want. Okay. I think that's that. We're gonna quit. Are you guys coming? Are we not singing?
Du må komme på TV-en. Men ikke bråke med en gang, Lilian. Det er bra at du ikke bråker. Se her.
Okay, maybe we're gonna remove this one.
Lilian.
Lilian, det må synes. Du synes ikke. Men, vil du stå bak meg, eller vil du synes? Der, ja!
Ok, skal jeg spille da?
Ja.
Lilian, du må slutte. Lilian, du må slutte. Du liker at du tar sprøyta. Ikke ødelegg den. Ikke ødelegg den. Ikke ødelegg den. This has been another unauthorized and rum-fueled treasure hunt in the sharky waters around the Gatsby Island with Queen Raae. I'm your host, Captain Olavia. This is the Pirate Princess Lilian. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye.
I must say I like it when they're in the loft better. In the attic, I mean.